Hey there guys, welcome to Collections Volume 14 here on the channel. It hasn't been very long since I filmed my last Collections volume, but the last one was kind of small and a lot of people did tell me that there weren't as many items, and I definitely knew that, but I wanted to film another Collections volume here and get another one cranked out pretty soon. So this volume is going to have a whole bunch of wallets. It's going to have usually about 4 or 5 at least. It's going to have a whole bunch of paintings and a sweet checkbook holder as well. So there's definitely a lot more items than the last one. So without any further ado, let's get started here on Collections Volume 14. Yeehaw! So to continue on with the trend of other collections volumes in the past, we'll start with pretty much the least decorative and then move on to the more complex ones as we move on. First wallet I want to show you is a Lady Gaga wallet. It's been a while since I made a Gaga wallet here, so I wanted to crank out another one here. It's got purple with on the cookie dough brown, which you can see here. It's got her sunglasses and the crown. This is kind of an image that's been floating around online, so I wanted to put that on a wallet. It's not a terribly complex wallet. On the inside, it's got a few stripes. You got a lightning bolt over here, which is one of her more well-known images, and it's got a monster claw here. This one was actually done freehand. It kind of turned out like a giant, I don't know, kind of like a horror type monster claw, which works out perfectly for the wallet. It's very appropriate, and it's got a purple billfold, which you can see in there. Not a terribly complex wallet, but like I said before, we're starting with the least decorative and moving on from there. So let's get on to the more complex stuff. So from there, let's move on to some Disney wallets, and when I mean some Disney wallets, I mean quite a few of them. So the first one I wanted to show you is a Jack Skellington wallet, which I actually made today. He's my favorite character right after Stitch, so he's my second favorite Disney character, obviously from The Nightmare Before Christmas. Probably my favorite stop motion movie ever made. So I can give a close-up of him so you can see that. Pretty crisp design on white, and his image is really easy to print out because you don't have to, or cut out because you don't have to put some white on it. You can just use the background image, which is pretty cool. So that's him on the outside. On the inside of the wallet is actually one of the most iconic pictures or images from The Nightmare Before Christmas, and that's this Curly Q hill, which is what it was in the movie. It's pretty much one of the iconic pictures from the movie, and whenever you see this image, it tends to remind people of the Nightmare Before Christmas. So we got the moon here in the background, and then we've got that Curly Q hill, which is what it was in the movie. 2 simple credit card holders, and that reminds me I should grab my my Disney card here. That's my my newest one that I'm using. So I got 2 credit card holders over here, and that Curly Q hill, which is really cool. It's one of my favorite images from the series of films. Well, actually the only film, but one of my favorite wallets, and definitely my second favorite character. From there, we'll go on to The Incredibles, one of my all-time favorite Pixar movies. It's definitely up there with my top 3 Pixar movies, so I got The Incredibles logo over here. Still waiting for them to make a sequel to this. I don't think it's in the foreseeable future, but hopefully they'll make one eventually and make it as good as the first one. So I got The Incredibles logo on here, and on the inside, it's actually got 2 images from the very end of the film called the end credits, which is what they were called, and it's got 2 of the images, like just kind of the cartoon characters just punching random things. And it took me a while to find these images online to actually print out. I was trying to figure out what to do on the inside, but then I found these and decided to go with these. So you got 2 functional credit card holders here and here. A lot of these only have 2 credit card holders because I thought, there's no sense in putting 4 in, because I'm just going to put a whole bunch of designs on the inside here. So you got the girl over here and the guy, and then they kind of just got the silhouettes with them punching a wall or something like that. So that's the Incredibles wallet, which I want to show you guys. And that one needs to be pressed down a little bit. You can tell it's popping up a little bit there. Next one is Finding Nemo. You guys can actually see this in 3D coming out in September. I can't remember the actual date for it. I knew it earlier today and I forgot, but it is coming out in 3D to theaters for a limited time, just like The Lion King, The Beauty and the Beast. And so here's Finding Nemo on the outside of the wallet. The inside is a lot more complicated. It's got Dory over here, probably the better looking of the characters in here, and I actually had to accent her with blue because you wouldn't be able to see her because her the wallet is dark blue, and so is she. Got a little seaweed. Here is actually a little cameo appearance of the fish that got cut out of the O, so he's right over there in the corner. You got Marlin and Nemo down here with a little seaweed behind him. A little hard to make them because their stripes, there's actually black on the outside of the white stripes, so making those was really hard to make. You really had to cut out really tiny little pieces, and hopefully they don't come out looking too comical, but he got his little bad fin over here, and I just kind of tried to highlight as best I could with the black and the white stripes. So I think it came out pretty good. From a distance it looks pretty nice, but when you kind of zoom in on it really close, they look a little bit comical, but unfortunately that's kind of what they're going to look like when you when you try to do really complex characters with duct tape. Inside is orange, as you can see there, which is pretty nice. I don't think that the Incredibles one, it was black, so they kind of go with the theme of the wallet there. So now let's check out a really awesome checkbook holder. So the checkbook holder is in reference to Pixar's newest movie coming out this year on June 22nd, which is Brave. I'm super psyched for Brave because it looks awesome. I definitely think it's going to be one of Pixar's greatest films, and I've seen all the trailers for it like a bazillion times, so I think it's going to be pretty awesome. So I decided to make a checkbook holder, which you can see here, which has the Brave logo on it. It's got the arrow on top, which is a running theme with the movie. And we have Merida on the inside. There's a little bit of a story behind this one because trying to make her character on here was pretty difficult. The cape and her bow and everything, that wasn't too difficult, but her hair actually has like 111,700 total individual hairs, and trying to copy that into detail on duct tape is impossible. So you have to go with kind of like a giant blob here for her hair. And her face was actually a lot smaller, and it kind of just disappeared into this giant orange blob. So I had to go reprint out a giant picture of her, and this is actually a face which would go with a much larger picture of her, but I had to zoom up a little bit, and it looks pretty good. She looks a little bit comical, but that's just due to the fact that her character is very well, put together. There's a lot of good animation going into it, and like I said, those 111,000 hairs are pretty hard to replicate, impossible to replicate with duct tape, but I think I did a decent job, as best as you can do when you are trying to copy a character of that detail. She's actually the first the first Pixar princess, and once you count the Princess Ada from A Bug's Life, but she's the first human Pixar princess. And I know someone's going to comment on this in the comments, like, well, wasn't Rapunzel the first Pixar princess? Well, Rapunzel, or Tangled, the movie that Rapunzel was in, was not actually made by the Pixar branch of Disney. It was the Walt Disney Animation Studios. So she is actually the first human Pixar princess, so I'm curious to see what Disney's going to do about that. She might end up in the parks. We'll have to wait and see about that. And all my friends down in Disney, I'll have to confirm about that with them. So that's concluding the wallet and the checkbook holder, which I want to show you. Now I'm going to show you some really, really cool paintings. So let's move on to those right now. Okay, so on to the paintings. We'll go in relatively the same order, with the least complex to the most complex, at least as good as I can judge it, how long it took me and everything. Just like I made a Jack Skellington wallet, I decided to make a Jack Skellington painting with his giant face on here, on an all-white painting here. This one was actually pretty hard to make, and it wasn't the eyes or the nose or even this long here, kind of like barbed wire smile that he's got. It was just cutting out a whole bunch of these pieces and making sure that it was roughly the same diameter all the way around, and making sure that it kind of looked like a skull when you put it all on, because obviously these have to be a whole bunch of pieces stuck together to make that continuous circle. So that was the hardest part of making this one, but it does look really cool. Like I say, he's my second favorite Disney character, so definitely wanted to make a painting of him. Next one I want to show you is one you've seen before in the Up time-lapse, which I made fairly recently, but I wanted to show this in a collections volume. Made this for the time-lapse, looks pretty cool. Just not really too much detail here. It's just kind of like the logo for Up. It doesn't have any of the color balloons or anything. They're all white. And I actually made this in the time-lapse, so if you want to check that out, it's a pretty cool video. The house is my favorite part because it looks like it's got a lot of detail, even though it's really only like 1, 2, and 3 pieces, and that's all the white highlight there is on there. But it makes it look really detailed, even though it's only got those 3 pieces. Next one I want to show you is kind of like an Iron Man silhouette, which you can see here. Definitely not as complex as some of the other images, but it is kind of like a silhouette image of him. I'm really glad that Duck Brand came out with gold, because otherwise this would have looked kind of silly with yellow. I mean, it probably would have worked, but it looks a lot better with gold here. And you got the white and kind of the little gray here at the bottom for his chin. And then there's a lot more detail in this image, but I kind of toned it down with the detail. Kind of went with the more simplistic images, and that's that was the result for the Iron Man silhouette here. Next one I want to show you is another silhouette. This one is actually an image that I've seen people do before on the internet, and I can't remember who did it, but I decided to do my own painting of it. This is obviously Elvis, and it's got a silhouette of him. It's funny because on my camera I can actually see us picking up his face as a facial recognition, which is kind of cool. But anyway, it's a pretty nice silhouette. It looks great. Just had a lot of fun making this one. It's not as detailed as my next silhouette, which I'm going to show you, and this is my second favorite of those two. So it looks pretty good. He's got like his shirt and everything, and it kind of just gives the impression that his whole body image is there, even though obviously it's just totally missing. It's just the black that's showing the silhouette, which is exactly what a silhouette is, but if you don't really do it well, it can kind of mess up. So the next one I want to show you is actually Marilyn Monroe. This one was a lot more fun to do because the entire image just came out looking really nice, and you can see her, like, her shoulder down here and her face, and it just looks really cool. It's a great silhouette image which you can find online, and I think it came out pretty awesome. So hopefully you guys enjoy that one. The very last painting that I want to show you is my very first attempt to make duct tape pop art. And a few people have done this on YouTube, and I wanted to throw my own entry into it. So you can see here, it does look a lot more complex on camera. I'm watching it on the screen, and it looks a lot more complex than it really is, but maybe that's just the way the light's picking it up. But this is obviously Wonder Woman. I'm not really a huge fan of DC Comics, but I decided to go with her because she was the one of the best pop art I could pretty much find, and so I went with her. This one was pretty hard to make because of the black all the way around here. I wanted to make a black background, but obviously her hair is black, so otherwise it would bleed right into it. I had to put a red frame around it so you could see her face and where her hair is. Her hair is a whole bunch of different black pieces, like there's one piece here, there's a piece here, here, and over here. So combining all those to make sure there were no red gaps showing was pretty difficult, but I think I was able to do it. And the pop art really makes the image pop out, and you can tell the color really does a great job with this. It's a great painting. I love making it, and hopefully if you guys really like it, I'm going to put some more pop art and some more collections volumes to come. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. That pretty much shows all the stuff I have for this video. We got a whole bunch of paintings here, and I'll pull up some of the wallets which you saw before, Lady Gaga, Jack Skellington, Incredibles, Finding Nemo, and the upcoming Brave as well. So that concludes this collections volume, and collections volume 15, I'm looking to do something pretty unique, and it hopefully won't turn out to be a really long collections volume, but I'm looking to do something pretty cool and kind of like a look back on all the collections volumes that I've done over the years. So take care, hopefully you liked the video, and I'll catch you guys next time on the channel. Hopefully this inspires you to make your own stuff and just make some pretty awesome videos and, you know, designs on your wallets and whatever you're making. So take care, catch you guys next time.